Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of Middle Age Geeks, 1 Year Madness. I'm one of your hosts, Daz, and my trusty co-host, Phil, is by my side. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing pretty good, man. Yeah, it's mad that it's been a whole fucking year, man. A year of the podcast. It's great crack, man. I mean, you think look how it's kind of evolved over the year from the super long episodes to kind of still long episodes. But the kind of way it started, it was a mix of pretty much everything, and then we've kind of whittled it down to being kind of a movie review podcast with some other geeky news and features thrown in. And I'm sure it'll get more and more streamlined. We'll end up just being 5-minute podcast eventually.
Next year.
How's tricks with yourself?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, buzzing for this one. As you said, it's been a wicked year. Doing this from just a chat over a cup of coffee, kind of going, what do we do for the podcast? And then you saying that you had it in your mind for a while, and we should have done it fucking ages ago, because this is the kind of shit that we just talk every week anyway. So it's been excellent. So yeah, I'm great. I'm well rested. A nice fell asleep at 8:30 last night with my daughter, which is fucking brilliant. Had a day of like IKEA and Decathlon, did a family kind of day out, just like let's get some stuff. End up it's 5 or 6 hour. It's like a road trip. Fucking IKEA, it's 3 hours in, you're only at the meatballs. It's like, oh my god,
man, I love IKEA. I love it. Wandering around IKEA, man, it's just fucking great. Oh, it's brilliant. I don't know what it'd be like actually having a kid running around with me now, but like I'm happy enough wandering around picking up shit for the house, stuff I don't even need. You know what I mean? I don't know how many hundreds I've spent in IKEA and stuff that probably has already gone in the bin. Like, just don't need that. You just think you need it, like impulse shopping.
Yeah, that's the thing. You end up spending so much money, then just look at the end of it and just go, what actually did I buy that is of any use? But yeah, it's fun. Once you have a trolley, you can just put a kid in that, and it's either that or just sellotaping them.
I didn't know they sold them there.
Exactly. Yeah, buy a trolley. But yeah, on this week's episode, we will, as usual, get into some news that we that tickle our fancy during the week. We'll touch on what we've been playing and watching this week, and then we will get stuck into a movie review from Phil, which is Transformers 1, which is a nice way to finish off a year of this podcast. But first, let's get into some news. Any news that tickle your fancy there, Phil?
Just a couple of things, nothing too mad. The first one was the trailer for The Day of the Jackal with Eddie Redmayne. Yeah, so this is it looks pretty good. I thought there was kind of a teaser before, but this is a much longer trailer. And it's a series, like I think it's like maybe 10 episodes series, okay. And it's based on that original movie, which is based on a book. The one from the 70s was actually really good. Early 70s Day of the Jackal is really good, but you might remember the Bruce Willis remake just called Jackal. That was terrible. That was so bad, right? That your man who wrote the novel asked for his name to be taken off the credits. Like, it's a shocking film. But the original is great, and this one looks really cool. And Eddie Redmayne's brilliant. So
he's great.
It's a good cast. Seems to be mostly British actors in it. It seems like a decent cast, and looking forward to checking that out.
Super.
Then the other thing was finally some new hardware from Nintendo, but it's a fucking alarm clock. Did you see that?
It's like fucking €100 or something.
Yeah, creatively, it's an alarm clock creatively called Alarmo. I was like, come on, you could have made a bit of an effort, like fucking. Anyway, this is Alarmo is like it's like a smart alarm clock. It's £100. But like it monitors your movements and you're getting up, and it plays obviously tunes from your favorite Nintendo songs and stuff. But like you have to have it pointed towards your bed so it monitors your movements and stuff. And like, listen, I have Alexa everywhere. With that, even don't want fucking anything watching me sleep. I don't really 100%. I don't know what exactly it's doing.
How are you doing, Phil? Who said that?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I thought that was gas. We've all been waiting for a hardware announcement, and they finally released something, and it's £100 alarm clock.
And didn't someone say that like it plays some kind of Mario themed stuff or Nintendo themed music? That's not going to wake you up. That's just gonna you're just gonna go deeper into a fucking trippy dream, man. Just like some mushrooms are gonna go. Fuck's sake.
Oh, you're humming the
Yeah.
music in my sleep then.
Yeah, that's just not gonna wake you up.
Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous.
And then the only other thing I had then was the that they've officially there is a sequel announced for Alien Isolation. Is getting a sequel, which is fantastic. Yeah, because it's in the news so much at the moment because I think it must be 10 or 11 years or something since it came out, and so yeah, there's been a lot about it in the news recently. And actually, the IGN they put a kind of a backpedaling review. So they had a kind of
5.9, right?
Yeah, they gave us something really low, and so yeah, they came out and kind of did a new review by another reviewer and kind of said, we're revisiting or something like that, reevaluating Alien. And they gave it a higher score, but they were really most of the piece is them kind of saying, yeah, okay, we think it's really good now, but completely protecting what they originally said. I know it's but this, and then we said this, but this. Just take the L. Just say no. We were one of the few publications that got it wrong, whereas most publications gave it a fantastically glowing score because it's a fantastic game. But it's just theirs really stood out because they're one of the OGs. They're one of the bigger reviewers.
I don't know why they kind of skirt around that fact because Ryan McCaffrey is like heads the Xbox team in IGN. Like on their podcast, is openly like come out and kind of go, yeah, like I still get so much shit for that. Like I got it completely wrong. He says it himself.
Yeah.
So why IGN just don't go, yeah, look, sometimes you just get something wrong, and again, still it's as Ryan said himself, and we always go, it's one person's viewpoint, and that's totally fine. They can be wrong and just get it, slightly askew.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like Jesus, does someone here? I'm saying that I'd like to kind of, I would like. I'm sure if I went back and watched it again, I'd revisit. About the creator. Absolutely. I rewatched Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think I'd up that to a 4. I rewatched it the other day, and I think I gave it a 3.5. I'd probably give it a 4. I enjoyed it even more in the second watch. But so we 100% get things wrong, but we got so much wrong when Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I was rewatching it, going, oh, because I think on the podcast there's a bunch of stuff we'd said in the episode, and like, oh, we got that wrong. We said that wrong. Like some comments I'd made about why don't there's other people around Paradox stop him from what he's doing. But then, like, it's very clearly said that they're all in on it with him. You know what I mean? It's very openly stated. But I was too busy enjoying it and laughing at the movie. So there's loads of stuff like that in it, and that's going to happen. With reviews. And I'm not saying. I just thought that his review of 5.4, like, it's not just that this movie didn't live up to expectations. It was so low. Like 5.4 is poor, and I think that's what they have it down as poor on their scale. Yeah. It's not good. You see 5.4 movie coming out, on IMDb or anywhere else like that, you're like, shit, man, that's bad. Whereas you can understand if you kind of went, no, it dragged out a little bit for me, and so I decided to only give it a 7 or 7 point something, where everyone else has given it 8.5, 9. You go, okay, that was just the one review, but he was so far off on it. Like,
some people are giving it a 9, and other people give it and one person gives it a 5. She just kind of, and it's just IGN at that time, and now as well, but especially at that time, that was like whatever score they give it's like royalty. It's just like if it gets a 9, oh my god, everyone's going to buy it. If it gets a 7 or a 6, sales will be affected. That's just the way it is, which is a shame.
Just how big they are, yeah. But it's I'd say he was probably just having a really, really bad week or something when he played it. Like, got broken up by his missus or fucking something like that.
Dog died,
stubbed his toe, the whole lot. Like, it was just a terrible week for him. So yeah, no, that I've nothing else on my end. It was kind of a pretty quiet week. What about yourself? Have you any news?
Just more kind of stuff about the Joker.
Just
like the reactions to it, and I was reading more into it. I don't know if we touched on it, that it all came from Joaquin Phoenix had a dream apparently, and that's how it all came about. And that Todd Phillips has said, like, it was revealed that he took no notes from the studio in the movie.
I knew that.
He only did it. He only made it with the precursor that he had Final Cut, which is, Tarantino or Scorsese or, Christopher Nolan, Spielberg, directors like this are the only directors that would even get close to really having a Final Cut. So it's kind of in it's a big bad for Warner Brothers as well to give somebody of like Todd Phillips he did well with the first movie, but he's not exactly in the auteur kind of alumni.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah,
get Final Cut on a $200 million movie, but there was as well, there was no test screenings, and whether you like or dislike the idea of test screenings, like they're still done just to gauge an audience. Whether you take their feedback or not is another thing. But yeah, it was just pretty hilarious that he came out himself about the ending, and we won't go into like spoilers and stuff. But
yeah,
he's saying that that the first movie, he's saying that, well, that was just called Joker, it wasn't called the Joker, and he just has this whole thing about the backlash to the movie that just looks like it's total cop out, and he's just trying. It just sometimes directors, they just sew up their own ass, and I think he is with this movie, that they just can't they can't read the room. It's all just like, it's like when some directors come out, or like showrunners for TV shows, and say just like, oh, it's your fault you're not enjoying it. It's your fault
yeah.
that all this kind of shit.
The Disney plan, just basically
Yeah,
Disney
yeah,
plan of action.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So so the movie's made like 120 million now off 200 million budget. Needs 400 around that to break even. It won't even make half of that. So it's a colossal failure now. It's absolutely in that realm.
And it was
Which is,
advertised heavily. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there was a good advertised, but it was really advertised heavily.
it's coming off
Like
the
it
back
was,
of one of the best movies of
yeah.
2019. So it's he's got to take that L big time. The other few things I was looking at, well, main one was that we were talking about Friday Night at Freddy's, but the actor, can't remember his name, the main actor, is just like, wait until you see the sequel. He says like the world just opens up in a big way, and he said that this sequel is going to be absolutely fucking amazing. And by
It's
amazing,
Josh, what's
he
his face,
probably
wasn't it? Josh?
means Josh
Wasn't it
something.
Josh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's fucking
Looks like a young James. 100% looks like a young James Caan. I said that in the last
yeah,
episode.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, you fucking convinced he looked Hutcherson. Josh Hutcherson, that's
That's
his
it.
name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So by like every time he lists like, oh, it's going to be bigger and better and more amazing or whatever, you just replace those words with
Like
preposterous
nuts.
and mad and nuts and whatever, which just makes me want to watch it even more.
Did he mention? Has he mentioned Vanessa? That's what I want to know. I'm going to be asking this question every week. Is she coming back? Is that nut job coming back?
We have to start a petition for that, because she
Yeah.
has to be back, because she's the best thing in it. And yeah, I'd love to just hear more about how she sees the world. It's great. But yeah, that's pretty much everything on my end news wise. So let's get into what we watched and played. Did you see anything decent? Play anything decent?
Well, as I said, I rewatched Wolverine, which was just great to watch that film Wolverine again and just kind of see not only the bits obviously we got wrong, but also some of the jokes and bits and pieces that I'd missed as well, because you're just soaking it all in, especially on the big screen, and it's an IMAX or whatever, and you're just like unreal, scribbling down notes. You're bound to miss bits and pieces, so it was kind of enjoyable to sit back and just enjoy it. It's just such a fucking fun movie. It really is. Like, it's just, I love the ending. I love everything. It's just great. Then only other thing I really watched this week was a horror movie called Azrael. So it had popped up on my radar recently just because I love Samara Weaving. I think she's brilliant, and she's kind of found herself a little kind of corner in some of these horror movies. Like, she was in Ready or Not, and she was in I think she was in Ash versus Evil Dead as well. She was in Scream, the last one. Like, she's a good actress, and she just seems to have found her kind of home in this horror one. I think she's making a sequel, actually. She's going to be in a sequel to Ready or Not. But this one is not great, to be, unfortunately. It's it's something different. It's like this world that's set after the rapture has happened or something, and so it's all the people basically who are left behind on Earth, and it's not enough of it is fully explained what's going on, but it's all, the whole thing pretty much is just set in the woods. There's not really too many sets anywhere else, but a lot of them have taken they've had their vocal cords cut out for not speaking, and I can't remember why the fuck that was, but for some reason, something to do with God or whatever, like something to do with that. But they're all basically trying to survive while these like demons and the like are coming after them, and demons are fucking, like, some of the gory scenes are vicious. But they constantly make other people make sacrifices to these demons, and it's a hard watch because I
Yeah, it
think if a
sounds like
movie
a hard one.
well, I just think if movies have very little dialogue, you know what I mean,
Mm.
then you need to make it incredibly interesting. Like you might say Castaway, for example, that movie
Mm.
has dialogue at the start, dialogue at the end, but for the most part, unless he's talking
Yeah.
to fucking Wilson, there's nothing being said, you know. And that's if you're doing that, then you have to be in the movie has to be really enthralling to keep your attention if there's nothing being said. And this is not that movie, you know. It's just it's not interesting enough. It's not interesting looking enough to
Oh
even
wow.
keep you you know engaged while watching it. So that was a bit of a downer, but yeah, no, nothing else really. It's been a fairly quiet week. Like I've just been playing the same stuff that I had mentioned last time. A bit of Zelda, a bit of Metroid Dread. Start
Nice.
that again, which is just fucking love that game.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good, and I just great running away from those Emmys, the EMMI things when they're chasing you around, man. It's fucking heart pounding stuff. I know it's only a little side scroller game, but they're awesome. You hear the noise of them fucking beeping
Mm.
around and looking for you and shit, man. Excellent. Yeah, but that's everything on mine. What about yourself?
Playing wise, I after finishing Star Wars Outlaws and I finished Astrobot, which is amazing. Well, I say finished. I'm going to go back and try and get
What
all
is the
the extra.
campaign length, though? Roughly.
I was playing it for about almost 10 hours, but that's like going around and doing a lot of extra, like
It's a
revisiting
lot,
extra
though, isn't it,
planets
for the
and stuff.
price? Like
Mm.
for the cost of that game, that's 10 hours. Like what's 80 quid that game?
60, I think. Yeah, kind of
Oh, is it only
reduced.
60?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Only 60. 60 quid for 10 hours, you
Yeah.
know. But I suppose if it has a good bit of playability, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely, yeah. So after that, I realized my Ubisoft Connect. Remember, I was say that like that I got signed up for that to play Star Wars Outlaws, and the payment was due to come out, and I cancelled it. I thought just in time, but then the next that was on the Saturday, but on the Monday it fucking came out again. It's just like, oh, you bastards! So for the sake of like €16, I'm not gonna send an email and try to get a
Yeah, yeah.
refund. I said like, oh, I'll try and find something that is on their store that I haven't played, but I'm kind of an Ubisoft fan, so I've played most of the big games. But then I saw the Avatar was on it. You know, the
Oh, the Frontiers of Pandora or
Frontiers of
something like that.
Pandora. Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, and that's from Massive Entertainment under the Ubisoft kind of brand, the same guys who did the Division and Star Wars Outlaws. So I said I'll give it a go. So I played it, and I played the first like 2 or 3 hours. It was a few nights ago, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this is great!" It's just again, it was one of those where you're sucked into the world, and it's a nice world to
Yeah.
be part of, and they set it up really well. Played 2 or 3 hours, and I said, this might tie me over. It'd be my next kind of 20 plus hour game. And then 2 nights later, I picked it up again. I couldn't be more wrong. Like, nothing wrong with the game, but I just sat down and after about 5 minutes, I was just like, fuck this. Like, just
And are
not,
you
just
always
not
in?
into it.
Are you always in Navi in it, or do you control
Yeah.
humans?
Well, for
Okay.
the first 4 hours, anyway, you are. But it was great because, the first few hours just really enjoyed it. Because it's like a first person, well, it turns into a first person shooter, but you're flying around Pandora, jumping like you're, a 10-foot blue fucking creature. You
Yeah.
jump all over the place. It's just really, really, it controls really well. It looks gorgeous. But I might go back to it again. But there was just something about sitting down again. I just went, nah. I was not so much bored, but I just wasn't invested whatsoever in sitting down in this world. So that was,
Fair enough.
and yeah, it was so surprising. It's like, love it. I couldn't be arsed with it. So then ended up buying FIFA 25, or sorry, EAFC 25, same old shit. A new gloss of paint, another €80, and they don't have the third United kit in it, Man United kit. They only have the first two kits.
Why?
Apparently, they come later on. Just like, well, you've had a year to make this game, which is essentially tweaking a few things, putting a different coat of paint on it, and they still can't get things ready for launch. So that was annoying. So I started a campaign, or started a career, and I just don't have the cool kit, so I'm gonna have to start it again. So that just pissed me off as well. So then I went back to try and, as you're saying, I need to just go back and just play something that I really enjoyed. So I saw Cyberpunk, and after getting my new TV, I was like, okay, yeah, I give Cyberpunk a go, just to find out where I was, because I thought I had finished the Phantom Liberty DLC,
Expansion,
and I
yeah.
said, I'd go back and actually play the base game, which I love. And went back in. I realized that I'd stopped at a point in the Phantom Liberty thing. I hadn't finished that DLC at all. I'd stopped at a point. And it's funny that you talk about Metroid Dread there and having the things that chase you. There are
Yeah.
bits in games that I fucking detest.
All right. Okay.
I hate being put under pressure like that. Like in Resident Evil 2, when Mr. X starts chasing you around, or you're just playing the game, and then you open the door and somebody's fucking starts chasing you, and then it's panic mode, and I just don't like panic mode. So in Phantom Liberty, where I'd obviously left it and I remember almost throwing the fucking controller out the window, where it's just one of these things, you're just trying to get out of this facility, and there's this fucking crazy robot that's roaming around, and you're in panic. You got to run in and decode something and do a little mini game before he comes into the room, and there's just so much stress involved in it. So I went back to it, and it's just like, oh fuck yeah, I forgot. Like, I'm in this part. I said, right, I'll just spend 10 minutes, cool the jets, and let's just get through this. And I realized what had happened to compound my fucking misery was there was a game breaking bug in that moment, where for some reason,
Oh,
whatever,
okay.
when I got around him and literally had done the last bit to get away from him, I just go into this little tunnel, and I just get stuck there. And it happened 4 or 5 times, and I went, oh fucking hell. So yeah, I just couldn't get past that, and I'd have to actually go back and restart the mission, which is another 30 minutes past. And I went, you know what? That might be the end of Cyberpunk for me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. I'm just not doing that. So yeah, it's been a really fucking annoying week of playing games. Just like, need to go back and play like Mario or something. Just go back to Astrobot and play that again. But yeah, and watching wise, pretty much fuck all. I watched Toy Story 3 in 4 parts with my daughter. Um, she wasn't nearly as emotional as I was. She's like, but why is he not? Why is he grown up? Just like, oh, he's not playing with his toys anymore.
Daddy needs a moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, hoping to get stuck into some new stuff next week. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's get on to our movie review. Can't wait to have a chat about this one. It's Transformers 1. Take it away, Philly.
Cheers, dude. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. For those of you at home that don't know, when we do our movie reviews, we start off with a bit of a synopsis about what the movie's about, and then a spoiler-free section where we just talk about our general views of it, and then we move on to a heavily spoilered section for the rest of it. So we'll make sure to let you know before we hit that part. So yeah, just for this one, like it's just after, just before we get into it, this was so much fucking fun. But I'll just give you a quick cast listing and synopsis then before we get into it. So it's the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies who were once bonded like who once were friends bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. And this one stars Chris Hemsworth, Keegan Michael Kay, whose name I couldn't get last week.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, John Hamm, James Raymar, and a bunch of others. Like it's so well cast. And it's directed by Josh Cooley, who is only, from what I can see, has only directed one other feature-length movie, which was Toy Story 4. But he's worked on like most of the Disney Pixar stuff, like all fucking Ratatouille and Cars and other Toy Story movies. He's either been a writer or a producer or even an actor. He's actually done a bunch of acting roles as well. Well, I'll tell you, he's done a fucking great job here. But what did you think? Give me your overall views before we get into kind of a.
Oh, I just absolutely fucking love this movie. So much more than I thought. I had seen the reviews and I said, "Oh, cool! This is actually they've struck the landing." Because after the trailer, when we chatted about the first trailer,
yeah,
I think criminally undersold this movie. The marketing team just did not get it right. Like, they played it as pretty light, buddy, buddy movie kind of. You're watching it, and you're going, "Okay, this does look a little bit kiddie." The music choices and stuff like that, where this movie gets pretty dark at times.
Yeah.
But I think just everything came together fucking perfectly from the first, like the first credit, the Paramount credits or the logo, and the music starts, just like, whoa, I'm liking this. And then the first image, just I was there fucking straight away. The cast is fantastic. For me, the one worry was Chris Helmsworth, and you know, not having Peter Cullen in as Optimus Prime is just,
Yeah,
it's one of the most iconic characters or actor kind of voices in cinematic history for me. It's just, you go away
you
from that,
couldn't. I mean,
yeah, and he couldn't have done
like
it any better. Like, he
no,
really
no,
gave it his all.
and Peter Cullen, like again, even if he could, he wouldn't be able to do. This is supposed to be
When he was
essentially
young,
them in their teenage years. You know what I mean? So, I guess robots can be teenagers. Well, they are obviously they're in the younger fucking years or whatever it is. I don't know how they do. What do they call them? Cycles or something? I don't know. Whatever they call them
oh
in
yeah, it's
in
50,
Transformer
fifty
world.
second cycle or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
So like but I thought he was fantastic. I thought he got this. It was a real commanding, authoritative kind of voice, but also had this real hopeful kind of tint
Yeah.
to it as well. It was just, yeah, I thought he was great, for all of them, I don't think anybody had really had I thought was a bad choice. I think because even like I know there was a
Mm.
bit of a moan people were giving out about Tyree Henry doing the voice of Megatron and saying it might be a misstep, but I thought he was great. It's
Brilliant.
yeah, I just it's just I thought it was voiced really well, and I think like it. Okay, you said it. You know, it does get dark, and but it does play it safe. Like if you've watched another and a lot of other even animated like this type of movie before, animated movies, the basic premise of what happens is very easily mapped out. Like it's
Mm.
not reinventing the wheel, but what it does do, it just does it so solidly and so well, and sets it up for what hopefully will be more
Yeah.
Transformer movies. Because they could have gone in and said, we want to do something no one's ever seen before, and along with the fact that we're getting a young story, make
Mm.
it completely bananas, and then people aren't involved. But they kept it really grounded in a grounded story. In without fucking go mad with fucking whole load of new Transformers. It's mostly the ones that you know and love,
Yeah.
and it just felt so contained because they kept it safe. It was a good thing. Sometimes I like when a sequel for them to kind of go a bit and change it up a bit, but I think for when it's just doing an original like this, you
Mm.
haven't had a Transformers animated movie in like fucking since I was a kid. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to get something like this, I'm glad this is the way they decided to play it, and that it is formulaic, but in a fine, completely okay way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just it's paced perfectly.
yeah,
The introduction to them as friends and buddies, like it just works, and it's,
yeah, 100%.
if that misfires, I mean, the movie falls apart. But you just believe it's totally believable, and they set up Cybertron, and it's a great world building of the actual planet and how it works, and that they're miners and they can't even transform for majority of the movie, which is even fucking better. That's an even testament to how confident they were with the story and the performances. It's just great. Like, I audibly cheered 3 or 4
Yeah,
times. Like,
laughing out loud at
yeah,
some
they're
parts
so
too.
fucking. It's fantastic. It's just
Yeah, like but like B Bumblebee
yeah,
is fucking hilarious. He had so many lines that I've
brilliant.
laughed out
Yeah,
loud at. Like
and
it's
that's another thing from the trailer, that they featured him too much probably in the trailer, or and you're kind of going, oh, is that going to be something in the trailer that's going to wear super thin when you see the
yeah,
movie?
yeah,
But
yeah,
he's in it just enough, and it makes perfect sense why he is that kind of kooky and funny. It's not just funny for
yeah,
funny's sake. It's kind of like his story around him is just like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. Like,
yeah.
he's a lunatic transformer. It's great. It's just like
Tell me
so
about
much fun.
tell me what you thought about the animation compared to what we see, at the moment from other studios. I mean, you recently watched Inside Out. You're
Yeah.
watching Toy Story later. What do you think? What
Oh,
did
I
you think
just
of the animation?
it's absolutely loved it. I mean, I was saying this to a friend of mine that it was underperforming, and he said, when I said it made like 100 million so far, but when I said it cost 75 million, my friend was like, 75 fucking million for an animated movie, like how? And apparently this has been in the works in some way, shape, or form for about 8 or 9 years. Kind of behind the scenes, I've been starting to animate this thing, and that the animation was astonishing. And we talk about like geography of scenes, of action scenes or lack thereof, with Zack Snyder and all these kind of things, where this, that it's not even live action, it's animation, so you can do so much more with the camera and virtual cameras and all this kind of crazy shit. And there's things transforming on the ground, in the air, and it's it's just, exactly what's going on at any given time, completely.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Some of the action scenes are they're excellent, absolutely excellent. There's one race sequence towards the start of the movie that is just, from an Easter egg point of view, it's fantastic. But from just a visual point of view, I was fucking blown away. It's very rare that these days that I actually get a chance to, be really want to just go back and watch something straight away in the cinema. Like I have
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
have a download of this somewhere on my computer as well, but I just want to go back into cinema and just sit there front row and just watch it again, because so the animation was just so fluid, so flawless. I didn't mind their mouths at all, which I thought from the
Which
trailer, I
was
was
one
like,
of our
oh,
things, wasn't it?
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't know about that. It's just because you're just so stuck to what let's say Optimus Prime is and was to you from a nostalgia point of view. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is that it's not just, it's a nostalgia thing, like, oh, I remember Optimus Prime and Megatron, like that. It's something anew, it's treading the same lines as the 80s and giving you lots of callbacks and this and that, but it's doing its own thing, and you don't mind seeing them, because it's when they're young, and it's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense that you can see that they emote better with mouths, and that's totally fine with me. And they probably
And they
couldn't
lined it
animate
up,
that back
yeah.
in the 80s anyway, so
Well, I mean, Megatron spoke with mouth. Megatron didn't have
yeah,
his,
yeah.
his face covered cartoon,
It's
but
more
but
Optimus
they,
Prime, yeah.
yeah, but they lined, like, I think as well. They really, they, like, with regards to, say, canon and stuff like that, with people who would be huge fans for decades and decades. This lines up perfectly to be the precursor to what we got back in the 80s when the first one came out. And we got our series and our toys and all that stuff. Like, but this really lines up well with that. I mean, you could really understand. Okay, well, this is how they got to that. And it's so much fun, and I love the change. Like when they're, because obviously most of it's in the city that you see in the trailer. When they kind of go to the surface, the different, it's absolutely gorgeous. And
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the animated stuff, like, don't get me wrong, Inside Out looks incredible. So many of these animated movies that they do look incredible, DreamWorks, Pixar, but a lot of them now look very the same. There's not too much difference. The characters look very similar to each other. There's not really a massive difference,
They look very
whereas
glossy and very kind of shiny and expensive, like,
yeah,
like this looks kind of gritty almost.
yeah, but I think that's why. I think, like, obviously for many reasons, fucking the Spider-Verse movies really stand out because it's such an incredibly wild animation style. But it was something new to kind of go, ooh, this looks fucking different than what we've been getting. And this is the same as that. This is like, oh shit, man, this looks fucking different than your Lightyear or your whatever Inside Out or what's it called, a Panda one, Red, whatever it's called. The things like that, they're kind of going, these all look the fucking same. Like, but it just looks. It looks different. It's just so fun to watch, as well as just enjoy the story. It's an enjoyable, like, visual feast, as well as being a really cool story.
Yeah, it's just fucking, yeah. I struggled not to just give this 5 out of 5 when I walked out of cinema. I was just like, oh man, it's just brilliant. But I wouldn't. I'd give it like 4.7.
Okay. I'd probably go even. I'd probably maybe somewhere, maybe 4. Yeah, maybe 4, maybe slightly higher than 4. But it's an absolute joy to watch, and it's as I said, there's really laugh out loud moments, mostly coming from B, but a few others as well. Scarlett Johansson, there's some great lines in it as well. It's and some great ones from some great comedy from characters we wouldn't have got from before. Like with Shockwave and stuff like that. There's some funny lines because they're so super serious robots in the movie, and the things that they get a couple of lines from them was great. So it's a fun watch. I recommend this to everybody, adults, kids, the whole lot. It really, really is fantastic. So look, I think that's okay for a spoiler-free section, because I would like for us to get in and start having the app about the story. So this is your warning if you want to duck out now. But we are gonna have a chat through the minutia of it now. So yeah, I suppose we'll just talk about how it opens up, which you touched on, Dad. So we open up on Iacon City, which is the city in Cybertron, and I loved, because it's underground, and I love that the city grows from both the top and the bottom. Yeah. The thing builds
very
up and down,
Inception
like,
looking, just like, oh wow, that's so cool.
It's awesome, yeah, and you just think like, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I suppose, yeah, I'm actually thinking a little bit about, you can't even get a fucking 6-story building in Dublin City. Take note, Dublin City, start building upside down. But I just love that. It just looks so fucking cool. And our opening scene is basically a zoom in onto the city, and we see Orion Pax, who is the younger version of Optimus Prime, and he's climbing up to sneak his way into. It's like a records place, isn't it? That he's going into, and he gets past some of the security lasers and all this shit, and he opens up this hologram with a voice which is unmistakable. Lawrence Fishburne. The minute you hear it, I'm like, oh,
Lawrence.
And he's basically, this is what I thought was perfect as well. I know me and you go on about how it can be difficult to get just the right amount of exposition, because sometimes you've got an opening and it's really long, but it's done well, like Late Night with the Devil. But then you've got some that are fucking really long. You're like, oh, just shut up! I can't follow all this, you know. And so it'd be very difficult to get the right amount. But this was just a great little scene. He goes in, and when he turns on this little thing, the voice comes up and it tells him about, okay, since the dawn of time, our great powerful leader Primus sacrificed his life force by transforming himself into the planet Cybertron and created the first primes and the matrix of leadership. And this allowed Energon to flow all over the place, flow freely, which is like the life force of the planet and the life force of Transformers. And he says like this, the matrix of leadership went missing and Energon stopped flowing. And that's as far as the story goes. He can't get any further to find out. But it was just, that's grand. That's a perfect little setup. If I don't fuck all the Transformers,
any other movie would have 3 minutes of this, like, he just watches the whole presentation. It's just like, no, it just gives you enough, and that's all. That's all you fucking need.
And you get the kind of this, okay, there's going to be more to come, because he's like, oh, how come every time I try to look something up, it ends there, you know, because he knows he has a feeling that there's something more, there's something not right, there's something more to their life, you know, than what is, and that's why he's constantly on the search for this.
But they are more than meets the eye. Apparently.
More than meets the eye, exactly. And I love this was our first kind of glimpse of the indoor lighting, was this scene, and it's fucking gorgeous. Like, he's standing over this fucking thing, and it's a blue hologram, and the reflection of him, and he's metal, and of course the walls are all metal because everything's fucking metal on this planet, and so it's just the different colors bouncing off. They just got it so.
And the robots, that are chasing them, flashlights and everything, and it's just as an indoor robotic room goes, it's pretty spectacular. Like lighting and shading, just like it's such a confidence
to make things,
intro.
because you could so easily, this could have been confusing as to what was going on, because in the movie, pretty much everything is metal, lights, and a little bit of glass, but most that's what it is. And so to be able to get really distinguish in a dark, what is a relatively dark scene like this. Everything that's basically has straight edges, there's not much that's round. To get it to distinguish it so well and light it so differently, I thought was really, really great, and straight away got me thinking like, okay, this is gonna be good.
This is gonna be good. And when he and because like that's even so good, but then when he's running away from those security robots and just smashes through a little vent, and then you just get fucking Cybertron and all its glory as he's falling down through all the fucking traffic and stuff, and it just reminded me of, you know, like Fifth Element, when you get that first reveal when she comes out of the vent, she's standing there, and just the like, here you go, here's the fucking, you think that was good? Look at this shit. It's just
fucking flying
colors
cars,
on show. It's just fucking mesmerizing. Like, and that's where you see budget. Like how you know, I'm not an animator. Like, how the fuck do you even begin to animate a sequence like this? Fair enough, lighting and run through corridors and stuff, but this sequence when he's just falling through fucking Cybertron is amazing.
Yeah, like and we kind of find out, because this is where we find out he can transform, because as far as we know, you know, for Transformers, that's what they fucking do. It's in the name. He, when security are kind of detecting him, and they're like, isn't that what he's going to do? It's not like he can transform. And then actually Orion Pax goes, watch this. And then he kind of just shoots his legs as if he's about to transform. And he just runs off instead. And it's fucking brilliant. It's just really great timing. Like, because you get like a zoom in close in his feet, a close in his arms, and then just going to run away. But yeah, the security chasing him, those shots of the scene are incredible, and you kind of find you're getting to know a little bit more through just people saying shit. Like, when they find him, they're like, oh, it's Orion Pax, and then when he fucking lands, when he's falling, and eventually he lands on the top of like a transporter kind of thing, and you see something. It's like, oh god, it's your man Orion Pax. So obviously, he's known, even though he's only a lowly miner, he's known for being someone who's kind of sees himself as something grander, or sees something grander for Cybertron. He kind of has a name for this guy who always wants to do something bigger than himself. And it's done as, again, it's just done so elegantly. It's just a couple of lines from people, not like, oh, it's Orion Pax. What about that time you did X, Y, and Z, and you really caused lots of trouble? Yeah. It's nothing. It's just they just say his name, like, oh god, it's that mining bot Orion Pax. That's it.
Great script,
just, it's just it's really easy into it, and away you go. Little bits of information like this for people who maybe haven't seen it is just, don't know anything about Transformers or what the life is like in Cybertron. It's just perfect. They make kind of a reference to him not having a cog, which is what they need. Transformers need this cog they put into their chest, and that allows them to transform into whatever. I don't know how. Is it ever said in Transformers lore? Because I'm not super deep into it. How did they find out what they're going to transform into? Because like they've got names, like one minute is called Arachnid. Okay, she's got a fucking, turns out she could transform into a bunch of legs, and some of them have these names that are really like Starscream. Starscream is a jet plane, or he's a guy that can fly. Stars screaming, whatever the hell. There's a bunch of them called Blitzwing is another guy, and he can. Like if you before you got your cog, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, we're going to call you Blitzwing. And I think then he ends up turning into a tractor or a wheelbarrow or something. Like, well, that's kind of a fucking letdown, isn't it? And, like, that's a bit of a fucking letdown. You know what I mean?
Can I change my name? No, you're stuck. You're Arachnid Wheelbarrow. Yeah.
I suppose, because I wonder if it's like, like Harry Potter and the sorting hat, like they just go, and we just pick you randomly. You're a fucking airplane. You're like, fucking nice one. Next guy walks in. You are a combine harvester. For fuck's sake! Like you'd be raging.
Because that's like with the Michael Bay thing. In those movies where when you see them when they just arrive as regular robots and they scan vehicles and then transform into them, and I just think it was one of those things that's never touched on. Well, in the cartoon in the first movie, anyway, it was never. I'm sure it was. Well,
I think they did similar when they came down.
Happened, yeah.
I think they did come down and scan vehicles in the cartoon as well, and that's what they transformed into. But they were other versions of it, yeah. But I don't.
Yeah, I mean on Cybertron, just like,
on Cybertron, no, I don't know how they transform, because like you're calling like RC, ARC to Lee, like RC is radio control. It's after, that's what it's after. But like, how did she know she was going to be a vehicle? Like, it's just
when her mum named her. Yeah.
But it's just it's again, it's great. It's just getting us into it. And then we get our first introduction. They've just caught up on him, and eventually it's this guy D16, who is the young Megatron, and he helps him escape, hiding them in like a trolley of stuff that he has, and he helps him escape the guard bots. And we get a bit of find out he's talking about how they're miners. We see that they're best mates, and you really get that vibe. The two of them, like, Orion is the one that keeps getting them into trouble, and D16 is the one who's really all about
playing by the rules and stuff.
Playing by the rules, and he really, it's so interesting, because that's his life. He's built around the vision, that there is for Cybertron and stuff. And we get to find it then. We get actually a cut to them then working in the mines, and they're working with this their boss or supervisor, Elita One, who is played by Scarlett Johansson, who's great. I think actually she's like one of RC's sisters, I think.
Okay.
I think she's one of them. And then the other one who wins the race, either Chromia or whatever her name is, I think she's the other sister. Okay, now I am showing off being a bit of a dork.
Because we see RC we see her in the race, and then towards the end we see her as well, just like it's
deadly. I like that. There's plenty in the background I'm sure we've completely missed, and we'll have to. I must Google the Easter eggs and see what ones popped up that I didn't see. But so the mine, they're working in the mine. The mine's an accident. The mine's collapsing, and Lita's like, get out of here quickly. And they stop, the two of them, to D16 and Orion, to save Jazz, who gets stuck under a rock. And then because of that, because of not following protocol, Alita gets fired. So do the two lads. And but like they're just stopping to do the right thing. He's like, we
Yeah.
stopped. You know, it's what Orion always does. But it's a fucking awesome scene. What did you think of that? Them getting out as the fucking thing is all crashing down behind them.
Oh, it's just fantastic. And I just love the explosions just hit, well, in the cinema anyway, just fucking hit so hard. And I just love the way that kind of bits of the rock kind of or start to transform as it's exploding. It's just fucking such a cool fucking visual. Like,
Yeah, no, it does. It looks fantastic. Like I actually went to see it in the cinema because I'd seen it first on
oh, brilliant.
at home because I got like the version I got, like I thought it was absolutely perfect, but then I was looking at it going, actually I think this might be a cam, just a fantastic cam. So like, fuck this, I want to go and see it in the cinema. And yeah, the colors are 100 times more vibrant and everything in the cinema. So I probably should have gone to see it in the cinema first. But
and Jax loses his leg as well, which is like, oh no.
Yeah. Jazz gets trapped under and gets his fucking leg torn off. And Jazz, I suppose he's one of the main characters in the original stuff, so it's cool to him to get just a nod. And then it's great because Darkwing, who is one of the security guards, who seems to have it in for Orion and D16, like which again, not to hammer home the point, but like you're definitely going to be a bad guy. Like if your ma or dad names you, or wherever you're born, Transformers are born, goes, I'm gonna call you Darkwing. Like he's not really gonna be a good guy, like unless you're Darkwing Duck, I suppose.
Well, it has a very pleasant demeanor.
Like you give some of the names you give these people are like I suppose even like Decepticons doesn't scream good guys. Like if you just found out about the two factions of Autobots and thinking, which one will I join? No, I'm not really sure which one to join. The Decepticons doesn't have a very great ring to it. It doesn't scream good guys, but anyway, we're actually the next part, Daz, be interesting to what you thought of John Hamm's performance, because this is where we get introduced to Sentinel Prime, and like he says, there's a big hologram of him, and he says we've been scouring the planet, the surface, looking for this matrix of leadership, and that's what we're doing for you guys. Keep working in the mines. Thanks for all the work you do. And D16
he's just fucking brilliant, and it's like just as a character, and again dials it up just enough to 10, doesn't go too far overboard with the pun intended hamminess. He's just fucking fantastic. He's just like, you can see why people kind of go, oh gee, he's like the dashing robot. He's just like, thank you for all your service. We can do this together, blah blah blah. But straight away,
he's like the politician everyone trusts. Oh god, what a great guy. And then really behind the scenes,
super
doesn't
cool.
give a shit about you.
Yeah, and you kind of go, he just doesn't give a fucking shit. And obviously, he's up to something, but it's what is he up to? What is he up to? But you can see everyone just cheering as he just makes his just shitty fucking politician comments. But he's absolutely wonderful in this role, and I didn't realize it was him until later on in the movie.
Okay,
just like, that's John. Just when I was going back through the cast, it's like, oh fucking hell. But he's brilliant, and he starts, because he's saying like they're on the quest, and he's trying to find the matrix of leadership, and do this for us. Do this. You're mining to help us, in our quest to free everybody.
And which must seem like the most wonderful, noble quest, because that's what they all know, that John stopped flowing freely. Now it has to be mined because this matrix of leadership is gone. So each time he supposedly goes off on these missions that he's talking about, they're all like, oh god, what a guy! Like this guy's going off.
Why wouldn't you be?
He's our leader. Yeah, he's our leader, and he's going off putting himself in peril, going off doing all these searches to find it. So like D16 is just a massive fan of him because of what he's doing for all Transformers, what he represents to all Transformers. But he says in his little speech about, thanks for all your great work mining and all this shit, but tomorrow what we're going to do is we're having the Icon 5000 race. And this is that scene you were talking about, as like it's basically Orion wants them to enter into the race because they would get championed if they beat even one, fully cogged Transformer. And D16 is like, no, we're just mining bots. Let's just stick to our job. But the next day, Prime ends up sneaking them both into the race without telling D16. He thinks he's just getting great seats. And all of a sudden, he just fucking hits the oak and they fall out, and they're in the race. And it's just fucking class. It's great because you're getting not only obviously the visual thing that you mentioned, Daz, but you're getting the reaction from basically the commoner bots. All the miners, all the ones who don't have cogs are like, oh my god, bots just like us in this race, and they're all cheering on these guys. People can't believe it, and it's fantastic how they keep getting through each stage to kind of get to the front of the queue. It's fucking amazing looking because it's
and
terrible for the city. It's just
using the kind of jetpacks that the miners use to get in around the mine, and that the fact that they use them to kind of give them not so much an edge, but gives them an opportunity to kind of go toe to toe with some of these other transforming bots. But it's it's just brilliant, and it's one of those where you don't really know how it's going to go. It's not one of those, oh, they're going to win, they're going to do this or blah blah blah. But they get so they get so close.
Yeah,
so close to winning. It's fucking.
I think
brilliant.
you're kind of thinking, okay, it's way too early. It would be way too early in the movie for them say to win, and then that's all of a sudden they're heroes. It was like, yeah, like it was too soon. So I think they handled it really well. Like they're almost going to win, but then D16 falls. Orion stops to help him. No, we do everything together. And he goes, well, look. And so whoever crosses Chromia crosses the line first. It's like, oh well, we get second place isn't too bad, and then they just get milled out of it by every other transformer crossing the line, and it's fucking brilliant. And they end up getting locked up for breaking into the race. It's a brilliant way to show off their teamwork and everything the whole way through, because they're jumping, they're using other robots and stuff, jumping onto them. At one point, he's on top, hanging onto the bottom of one, and his head just comes out of the bottom of it, like he's shaped like a plane or whatever, and his head just comes out of the bottom. Get the hell off me! So they get arrested, and they think they're going to be in, getting loads of shit for it. But Sentinel Prime was delighted because he was inspiring to the workers, and that all the workers' productivity went up like 150% because of this. So they think that, we're getting a great pat on the back, when really from his point of view, he's like, yes, they're mining more shit for me. That's all he cares about. So it's again, this was maybe the first kind of part you could kind of see him where you're going, oh, this guy's a dickhead, because at the start you don't fully know, you don't see anything treacherous about him or anything like that. He's just, when he's talking about the race and thanks for everything, I'm out doing this, that, and the other, you're like, okay, they haven't shown that part yet where he becomes a dickhead. And this is kind of the first part, because you see him going, yeah, you guys, I'm going to leave you with my assistant. You keep it up, heroes. And he kind of he has no interest in them at all. He just sees them and everybody else. So yeah, but it's just really the first part where we see kind of, okay, this guy might be a little bit dodgy. So they think they're getting a reward, but again, Darkwing comes along and he's like, yeah, you're not going to fuck anywhere near a reward, and he drops them down to like waste management instead. And this is where we get to meet B. So BB126. And it's just such a funny scene. Like they realize he's so fucking kooky is because they've had him down here like sub-level 50 or something for so long that he's basically just been talking to himself. And not just he's talking to himself, he's like, I have another Mike, you can meet the rest of the gang. And he has these 3 robots set up, and he's like, this is whatever. And then he does the joke I mentioned about, this is AAtron.
Oh yeah,
and this is Steve. And he's like, Steve? He goes, yeah, he's foreign. And it's just these 3 robots that are they're just made up of garbage. They don't actually move. He's fully nuts, and it's so well played, man. I was pissing myself laughing during this scene. It was brilliant.
It's just because he's down at sub-level 50, and the guys are like, I thought sub-level only went down to 40. Just like, fuck this poor guy, like. But it's just wonderful, and straight away I was just like almost clapping in the cinema, going, it just makes perfect sense to everything I'd seen about him being kooky. Just like, it is not just a comedic effect. It's kind of obviously it works as comedic effect, but there's a reason for him to act like this. And he just plays it so well. You see the robots and their reaction when it just like, it's a Steve, and they're just like, okay.
It's like, more friends. Okay, tell me everything about yourself. I'll tell everything about me. And he's just, I'd say, I'd imagine that Key had a big part to play in the writing of the scene, I'd say, because it's got that so much energy to it and stuff. It's just, it really is great. And like, I was enamored with that character straight away. He's like, yeah, I'm B16, but some people call me Badassatron, and he changes his voice each time he does it.
Fucking good, because he does that later on a few times and never. Yeah, it's one of those
it's not
jokes.
Landing with anybody.
Badassatron, and just like, no, man, that's just It's not happening, dude. Oh, he's fucking wonderful.
Yeah,
Just like it's like the Mario movie when playing Toad. Just that perfect amount of
yeah,
that. Where if you dial it up a bit too much, or if he's in it too much, then you start to lose it a little bit. But it's balanced. It's pitch perfect. Absolutely.
yeah. Couldn't agree more. It is. It's just it's great. And I think what you said is not just here, but throughout the movie. You're right. It is just used the right amount. So again, another thing that the trailer got wrong, as you mentioned.
Too much of him.
Yeah, yeah. So they're kind of there. He basically says that what he does, he basically just watches garbage and pulls out anything that they might need. And he's like, "That's your job. You watch garbage, you know." And
Yeah, yeah.
but as he's I think they bump off one of his robot pals, Steve, maybe. And one of the things he was using as a voice box is this beacon that falls out, and the beacon actually shows the location of the matrix of leadership, or where they think
Yeah.
it might be. And like, holy shit, like this could be huge. This could save everybody. And so Orion's like, we should go straight away. We have to go and get this, and we can get it missing and prove ourselves. And again, D16 is not into it. But when he starts mentioning, okay, but what about your favorite prime of all time, who was, what was he called, Megatronus or Megatronus? Megatronus Prime.
Megatronus.
He's like, we could find him here. He's like, okay, and we see, because he's such a fanboy for this Megatronus Prime. He's like, okay, we'll go along. So they manage to sneak out up through the trash chute, and they get onto this train, which is the one that goes to the surface. And while they're on there, Alita, who's been demoted to working down in this section, she catches them in the act, and she fucking tries to stop them, but the train ends up taking off with all three of them inside. And I love this. I love this about you, Daz, but I love the transition as it goes from the big metal planet, everything buildings, very sharp edges, and a true kind of a sky until basically the surface of the planet. I love that. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Like,
because it's going just straight up into the, seemingly straight into the sky, and then there's all kind of, before they get to the surface, is all kind of, it's like they're going through just
layers
of rocks and layers of rocks, and it's all kind of hitting off them, and they're hanging outside the train, and then it all goes calm, and you get the wide shot of them all standing up, and the fucking, just the colors, it's like an aurora of rainbow colors. It's just absolutely fucking gorgeous. And you see the close up of all their eyes as well, where they're all just looking at it, just going,
that's what I was going to say. It's like the reaction to the or Trinity's reaction to the hover ship going through the clouds in the Matrix. Revolutions, you know, she goes through, and it's fucking shaking. It's all dark clouds, thunder, and then they come out, and we get that brief blue sky, sun, everything like that. And it's just that's kind of what it felt like. This look, gorgeous. Holy shit, it's amazing up here.
Big giant red sun cascading all over, and then when they can see kind of the rock faces are transforming as they kind of move.
Yeah, I love that, man. That real, just
such a cool idea, that.
Yeah, it's real kind of shifting the whole time, the rock, which is great. Like it's and you see more of it later on as well. It has kind of this feel of the Control. You know, Control, when you're in the game, you have a lot of that kind of moving rock stuff, or inside a cauldron in Horizon. Those games has that real, you know, living metal kind of vibe to it. It's fantastic. It looks great.
Yeah, and they all just look so in awe. Like, and I spend some time with them. Just, it's not just a couple of shots and I get on with the story. It's good, like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, but they're all just kind of standing there, just looking at me, get this glorious shot after glorious shot after glorious shot. You're going, 75 million well spent. Just the colors, just, you pick any one of them, and it's a poster on your wall. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's fantastic looking, and I think this is kind of where we get Alita in the plan. Like, Alita at the start is like, no, I'm fucking turning you guys in, you're idiots. And you tell it, like, we have a map, you know, all this kind of shit. It's going to get noticed. It'll get you promoted. And she's still having none of it. She's like, no, I'm turning you guys in. But they end up getting thrown off the train by one of the shifts in the landscape that comes up behind the tracks. And Alita agrees to join them on the mission, but she's not happy about it. And this is where we get our first introduction to the other race, the Quintessons. They're kind of like crab robot people. They had this there's a real crustacean kind of vibe, crustacean insect kind of vibe to them. I don't know if they transform or if they're just look like that the whole time. But they're basically another race who haven't been seen in years, and were at war with the Transformers. But yeah, they're they're vicious looking fucking things.
Yeah, it's fucking pretty deadly. Like,
Yeah, so there's a cool scene of them being their ship is flying over and they're scanning the area with lasers and stuff, and they kind of have to dodge in between all the buildings to the ruined
the
buildings
ship's
to get
fucking
away.
ginormous. Like, it's a
Yeah, the
great
ship's
sense of
massive.
scale where you're just like, oh,
Yeah,
this.
when it goes back up into the clouds, man, that was awesome. It just
Yeah, it's
fucking
so good.
hovers back up. Like, yeah, it's really, really cool looking.
I like when you get a
Um,
sense that in movies like this, where it's not just like, oh, how are they going to beat the big bad? Where you're actually literally going, how are they going to beat these fucking people? Because it's just like the size of their fucking ship. Just a very, very menacing threat.
it's savage, yeah. And I suppose that's that can be that can 100% be a sequel, you know.
Mm.
But they anyway they follow the beacon and they go into the cave, and here's where they find all the dead primes. So what we said, Megatronus and a few others, I can't remember their names, that are all brown bread. And like D16 again has his boner for fucking Megatronus Prime. He sees his body there and he's just overawed. But then they see Zeta Prime, who was the guy who would have been holding the Matrix of Leadership, and it's not there. It's gone. It's not where it should be. And then they spot a light, and they see that Alpha Trion, Alpha Trion, who was voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, is still alive but deactivated. So they use some energy on to switch him back on again, and then he's the one who gives them a whole fucking lowdown. Like, and I love this because they give Lawrence Fishburne the line, "You've been living a lie." I was like, "Oh, brilliant! It's so good." Yeah.
You've been living a lie.
It's always like just say Neo, just throw it in there, just make me happy. You've been living a lie, Neo. Well, it was cool to give him that line, and he's basically gives him the whole lowdown. He's like, "No, Sentinel Prime is a dick. He's a traitor. He set up the Primes to get ambushed by the Quintessons, and because he wanted the Matrix of Leadership for himself. But when he took it, it basically evaporated, like it disappeared, because the Matrix of Leadership will only take a true leader, someone who's worthy, and he's a dirty, deceiving piece of shit.
He's right in front of us."
Yeah. And so you see, like, D16 doesn't want to believe it for the start. He's like, "I don't believe any of this." And so Alpha Train goes, "Follow me," and he brings them outside, and we can see that Sentinel Prime has just arrived way down below, and they think that all the stuff that was garbage that was on those trains. They're like, "Oh, why does he want all this fucking garbage that we've been thrown down?" And when the things open up, it's actually they're full of energon. So Sentinel had made an agreement with these Quintessons that he would get to be in control of Iacon City below the surface. He's basically their bitch. Like, they see him bowing before them, and this is the beginning then of the turn of D16.
That's why it's so believable because, when
his world's been shattered.
Yeah, exactly, and that's from watching the trailer and from watching the start of this, you're kind of going, how, like, what is going to make this guy turn so bad where they're going to be mortal fucking enemies? And we talked about it before, where it's like Professor X and Magneto, when you see that they're friends with an edge and this, and it's all fucking well and good, but then there's something that just changes, but doesn't drastically change. It just sets one just slightly off kilter a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's something so deep and so personal that they just start to gravitate apart. And this is just wonderful because you see it in his performance that, like, as you said, his hero, his world has just kind of been shattered. He doesn't want to believe it. And then it just starts to breed a lot of fucking anger. That whole thing, the whole regimented thing that he lived by, is kind of starting to be.
That's it, yeah. Like, how would you feel if you found out?
Fuck this, it's not just my hero is a crook, but it's just like everything I've believed in is now the way I've been living my life is wrong, and it's just you just believe that anger, that pent up anger, is going to fucking explode. Like
100%. And like, how would anybody feel if, like, you find out? Yeah, not only are you being lied to, I'm sure we're being lied to by all politicians, but you find out your whole life, like, you've lived towards your job, everything, you're mining stuff to base the power these trips that he's taken to go and find this stuff. So everything you see is going towards this greater good that this leader is feeding you, and he's just seeing now that all of that is bullshit. So that this is really the kind of first of the turn. We see it in his face and his voice and the stuff he starts saying from here on down, that it's, he starts to change a bit more, that this society that basically now he finds out revolves around, them working
Yeah.
off Sentinel Prime's debt to the
Mm.
Quintessons. That's what it is, and again, it's something I mentioned at the start, as in the spoiler free part, that this exact thing is very, very common
Mm.
in animated movies. I find that it doesn't matter what it is, if it's fucking Zootopia or anything else, whatever it is
Yeah.
that they have this, that it's the people who are in charge are not what
Mm.
they seem to be, and it's
Mm.
just a common thing in these things. But it's fine because it's a fantastic way to
It just
show
works when
D16's
it's,
turn, because
when it's
yeah,
done
because
right. Does
yeah,
it works because it's you need that dramatic switch or dramatic turn or something to justify a character's complete fucking flip.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly it, and it's done so well. And he also tells them the other thing was you should actually be able to transform every transformer when they're born and created or
Mm.
activated, whatever word he uses. They all have cogs; they can all transform, but Sentinel Prime steals them all and makes them all so he can have minors, and tells people that they don't actually get born with
You're
a
a
cog.
lower class, yeah.
Some of you, you're a
He put
lower
the
class
classes
essentially.
in effect, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a whole class system, and the fact that they didn't need to be there just because he wanted miners to pay
Which
off
is
his debt.
pretty deep and pretty dark, like.
Dark as shit. Like, yeah, it's super dark. Like, you basically, and you see how the lower race,
Mm.
the miners, how they're treated. They are treated as slaves and the lower class
Second
by
class
everybody else.
citizens,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? They call them cogless and a few other different things they call them. Like,
Mm.
it's rough for these people, and that's why it was so exciting for them to see two miners in the race at the
Yeah.
start. And people without cogs, or robots without cogs, are much smaller as well. It's not until they get cogs that they actually get transformed and get bigger. So they're not just lower down; they're all smaller beings in general.
Mm.
And it's class, but it's a class way of telling the story. But while they're there, he goes, well, look, I'm going to give you all these cogs. And he takes cogs from the primes that are all dead. And so now they can all transform. So they all get beefed up straight away. They get glow ups, as the kids say today. And you see them, they just get bigger and fucking shinier and new bits onto them. And
So good.
they start looking more like the characters that we know, that we know from the cartoon. And anyway, so they escape. Well, the bad guys all of a sudden come in for an attack. They escape, and Alpha Trion holds off the bad guys, and he's fucking class. He turns into some sort of
Pretty
tiger,
badass dude.
it's basically
He's
a
like
unicorn tiger. He's got like a horn on his head as well. Like, it's fucking, he's mental looking. He fucking whipping around, fucking whips up like a whirlwind, and he's taking down robots left, right, center. It's savage. But then Arachnid, the kind of Sentinel Prime second in command, jumps down and captures him. She's fucking cool looking, by the way.
And again, she's the most evil looking fucking robot you'd ever see in your life.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that no one knew Sentinel Prime was a bad guy. With here's my secretary.
If you met someone with not only with that, like, her name is Arachnid. She's got these big ass fucking claws. She's got these weird ass fucking purple eyes and stuff on her. She's a super evil, dark sounding voice. If she came up to you and was like, yeah, I'm one of the Autobots, like, no fucking way are you an Autobot. You're definitely a bad guy. It's written all over your face. So anyway, so she ends up she captures what's his face. And this next scene, Daz, I'd love to hear what you thought about this, because this I thought was not only cool looking but hilarious, because they're escaping and they're trying to escape. It's like, but we can transform now, but they've never transformed before, so their attempts to transform are fucking priceless. Like, Bumblebee turns into a car, but he's got his arms are sticking out either side.
No wheels.
Exactly, no wheels, and his arms sticking out, and he's just fucking sliding in.
But like,
what's her face?
D16,
one wheel.
She's one wheel, and she's all over the place. And D16 has said to Optimus, let's just, try and fucking let's do it. And Optimus Prime, you think like he's going to be the first one to do it, and you see his chest starts to move, and he's just like, oh, I'm fucking doing it, and then his head just disappears down into his body.
I can't see.
He's running around. I can't see. He's just running around. He's just literally flailing arms, running around with no fucking head. And then D16 starts to kind of transform. One of his legs starts to transform into kind of a spike or something. So he's running around like with a fucking peg leg, and it's just fucking absolutely fucking astonishing. Like, it's just they just find the humor in all the right moments in these sequences. It's fucking brilliant.
Because they could have made this.
D16.
They could have tried to make this the epic moment, as you said, like when they very first, they could have just gone slow motion. Like the first time you see Optimus Prime in the, say, Michael Bay movies, when he transformed, the camera is rotating around him 360. You see all the cogs moving, and they do that.
And it
But
takes him 27
and it
minutes to
takes him 20. Yeah,
transform
it
in.
does. It takes him so long. And then the rest of the movie, obviously, it's done very quickly. And they could have done that here. They could have been him going and making the big that fucking noise they make, and throw in some Transformers music, and just have him transform Lala's
epic moment
for the first time. And that's almost what you're thinking when he goes, "We can transform now." But I love that they just went the other direction and just made it an absolute shit show. Like all four of them fucking battered and fucking falling
bumbling down the side of a hill, like just fucking in pieces.
It's great. And but as you said, this is D16 getting darker and darker, because they're just about to get three guys are about to get taken out by one of the bad guys, one of the Sentinel's men, and D16 all of a sudden just shows up as a tank and just fucking blows your man away. And he's laughing about it. Like, you see, it's getting darker and darker. And Orion Prime is taken back a bit. He's like, "Are you okay, buddy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he comes up and he takes the map off Orion, who I keep saying Prime, but they're the same person. He takes the map off and he's like, "I'm gonna, I'll guide our way back." Yeah. And he wants to kill Sentinel. That's his plan. Whereas Optimus Prime wants to get back, or Orion Pax wants to get back and show the world that we've been living a lie. They've got a recording there to show, that from Alpha Trion, they're going to show that and go, "Look, he's a prick. Like, he's the one."
And they're both totally understandable plans. That's the beauty of a good villain, where you're kind of going, actually, show everybody we've been living a lie and we can go that way. But on the other hand, you're just going, well, actually, I want to shoot that fucker in the face, blow his head off, and you're just going, absolutely. Like, it's a win-win, but it's not like a silly, stupid plan or anything.
Very different ways. And like, as you said about Professor X and Magneto, they both want mutant acceptance, whereas Xavier wants coexistence, and Magneto is like, no, we're the superior race, and that's why people are going to respect us, and it just they both have just different visions of what they want and their end goal, and how that kind of departs, and the splits. And this is it. This is him splitting off. You can see the look of worry in Orion Pax's face as you can see this change in his friend. But as they're on their little walk along to get off the planet, or to get back under the surface, they get captured by Starscream and his gang, who were the Cybertronian High Guard. And it's deadly. You get to see you get Starscream sitting on the throne. We've got fucking Shockwave on one side, Soundwave on the other.
Such a giddy moment.
Oh, stop. And
Steve Buscemi is fucking Starscream. Just like, oh my God, can this movie get any fucking better? It's fantastic. And his voice is kind of normal at this point, which is really kind of cool compared to what it actually gets to.
Do you want to talk us through this part, actually? Because I know you love this part.
It's just fantastic, like seeing him sitting on the throne and just harking back to the cartoons, and the fact that he just sees himself, like, he's always annoyed that fucking Megatron is the big bad, when he just sees himself always as the main fucking dude. And there's one shot where it's just like he's sitting on his little, up the top of the steps, his little throne. It's like Shockwave and Soundwave beside him, and straight away it's just like, just give me that fucking image for, I'd blow it up like 10 foot by fucking 4 foot. It's fantastic. But it's the way his voice, and it's just very, not obviously, but it's Steve Buscemi, and you're just going, this is fucking fantastic. And he's really enjoying his leadership role. And he's just like, you're going to bring all the energon to me and all this kind of bullshit. But it's when they eventually have, because I was just thinking, how is he actually going to get his other voice? So when they actually, he ends up having a scuffle with these guys, and it's D16 himself who actually, does he stand on his throat, or does he hold?
No, he grabs his choke him, and he lifts his arm to punch him, and next thing, the big fucking cannon comes out of his arm like that.
Oh, that's the fucking thing, yeah. But even when he's holding his throat, and you can hear him just kind of squeeze it, and it's just, this is PG, like, but for some people who inadvertently brought their like 6-year-olds, it's like squeezing his throat, and you can hear him just start to, his voice starts to go back into the Starscream. Fucking hell. But it's that moment when he's just like, and you see the cannon come out, and everyone in the room is just like, whoa, what the
Yeah,
fuck is
they start
that? And
cheering
that's
his
just
voice, like because they're at the start when when the two of them are fighting, everybody's standing back to allow them
mm,
fight, and they're Megatron's boys, or not Megatron,
yeah,
Starscream's boys, so they're all on his side. But then when D16 starts to get the upper hand, then they're all fucking start chanting his
yeah.
name.
Mm.
They start fucking saying, "This he
And it
could be the
just
leader."
turns completely. But it's for me, it's that moment with the cannon. It's just anger magnified,
Yeah,
personified in this fucking like. It's just it's suitably epic and suitably dark. And yeah, and there are so many pivotal scenes towards the latter half of this movie. But this is again is another one of them where you just see a turn. You see how easy it was for everyone to just go, oh, fuck off, Starscream. This guy's the real deal. Just the way it was in the cartoons. It's just like he
yeah.
sees himself as this leader, but he's not. He's just leading because no one else wants to. And then
And he also
fucking
and this is the start of the Decepticons as a group, because these guys,
yeah,
they're all cheering for him, and that's only going to reinforce your belief
mm,
that you're right, because they're up there and they tell them that they almost have the same. They're almost on the same side, all of
mm,
them, including Orion Pax. Are like, we want to take down Sentinel as well. We know he's a dickhead,
yeah,
um, and so they've been working away in the shadows, and but all these guys are all now on his side. So it's just going to reinforce his feeling that, yeah, I am right to want to take revenge and to stuff. And he
mm,
says, like, I'm going to kill Sentinel Prime, and it's
yeah,
super
yeah,
dark, and he's walking away, and we kind of see a slow motion shot of him looking back at Orion Pax, who just has
mm.
this look of fucking shock and disbelief on his face that this is his friend really, really turning into.
His best mate is gone now, like pretty
Yeah,
much. It's
yeah.
like fuck.
So as they're about to make they're making their way, all of a sudden the Sentinel's mates attack, and there's this big ass fight. Like Arachnid is fucking savage in this, because she flies in. There's one scene where she like cuts a bunch of them in fucking half or whatever. She lands,
Yeah.
she slices them up, and then as soon as she does it, she just turns into her little hover spaceship thing and fucking flies off. Like, that was awesome, really really cool, really really cool scene. And that whole battle, it's not an incredibly long battle,
Mm,
but it's them getting basically how they get captured. They capture Sentinel's mates, capture a bunch of the High Guard, kill a
mm,
bunch as well, and D16 and B, they also capture them. And so Orion and a leader are left behind under the rubble, and they kind of want to rally the rest of the guys. They want to rescue their friends, join forces with the rest of the High Guard. And so they kind of turn around, and it's Soundwave and Shockwave are there. And again, like you were saying earlier on about getting the line of turning into the robot, he says
yeah.
like, roll out. And all you hear from in the background, like miles back, is, what? Like it just, like you said, it's like, say it louder. Like, roll out. It's just brilliant. This pause, just roll out, and then, what? It's absolutely brilliant. Timing is fucking fantastic.
We roll out.
What?
Louder.
Transform and roll out.
Again, it's just because what could be such an epic moment, and they just play it for comedy instead, and it's just perfect. Yeah, it's really really
And
good.
when Orion Pax, when he goes back to rally the kind of miners, there's just the way it's shot. He's just so much bigger and taller than them and shinier
Yeah,
or whatever, and it's so imposing, and just straight away it's just so fucking beautiful. Just like here's like Optimus Prime is one of my most favorite fucking characters of all time. You just see them kind of start to manifest in front of you. It's still obviously Orion Pax, but it's fucking great. It's just like more
it's
cheering
glad.
moments. You're just like, yeah.
And I think, well, it's good because it contrasts the other one. Obviously, they made their plan to go back and do whatever. Like, and I think Sentinel's plan is he's going to frame the High Guard for all the bad shit that's been happening and all that. But when Orion comes back to these miners, it's his speech is just so, inverse. Excuse me, is inverse to D16, because when he's talking to the miners, he tells them the truth. But he's like, "Do you want to join the fight to bring everything back to the way it was? Rally behind them. Like, this is the beginning of the Autobots fighting for the good of the planet."
Yeah.
Whereas Thing's speech earlier to his guys had been like, "Follow me. I'm
Destruction.
no more false gods. Follow me. Let's blow all this shit up. Everything they've created, blow it up. And they've lied to us." And it's just, their speeches couldn't be any more different. But this is the beginning of the guys who rallied behind Prime and the guys who rallied behind Megatron. It's brilliant. And this is kind of, I suppose, this is the big, real, epic battle. Like, Elite has got the train rerouted into the headquarters, and they fucking smash into the building, and it's just, it's fucking awesome. Orion, all he wants to do is help save, rescue D16.
Yeah.
But D16 only cares about revenge. He kind of just pushes him away, and there's this fight then between the two of them. And Sentinel Prime, man, as John Hamm, when he gets all fucking tooled up, like powered up, man, he
Double
looks
fucking
awesome.
sword thing. Jesus fucking Christ! It's just like,
He looks
whoa,
class.
okay.
Like, yeah, the big fucking missile things on his legs, and he gets one of those masks over his mouth as well. I think all the ones that have those things, like Soundwave,
Mm.
it just looks cooler. There's just something cool about it. Yeah, it's like ninjas. Like ninjas look fucking so much cooler. Anyway, they have a battle, but of course, at this stage, Megatron hasn't hit his full power yet. So Sentinel Prime that just fucking kicks the crap out of him. He's fucking throwing him around. And their plan is to use the Arachne, the good guy's plan is to use Arachne's memory because she records and sees everything. His plan is to use her to broadcast all the recordings from her memory of Sentinel being a traitor so that everybody can see it. And again, that's something we would have seen you see in plenty of time in movies, you know what I mean? Where it's very like, I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake. That's Robocop for anybody who doesn't know. But again, this is he's about to D16 is after getting the better of him of Sentinel, and he's about to execute him essentially because he's caught off guard because all of a sudden the memories have been fucking thrown up all over the screen, all the recordings, the whole world of Cybertron are seeing that this guy is a dirty, rotten traitor. And so D16 is about to execute Sentinel, and Orion stops him. He knocks him, and so D16 knocks him out of the way, and then Orion jumps up again next time he's trying to shoot him, but the blast goes straight through and like rips a hole through Orion, and it's fucking dark as shit. Like he starts to kind of turn grey, like he does in the comic when he gets killed by Megatron. You can see it's just like damn, and D16 is holding him. He catches him before he falls, which is into the core of the core of the fucking planet. And he catches him, and you're like, okay. He's like, oh god, why did you do that? Why? You're like, is he gonna help him? Is he going to? But then you see the look on his face, and it just changes, and he's like, no, you shouldn't have gotten away. You're
I'm
always
done saving you.
Yeah, I'm done saving you. And his eyes turn red, because where they are, they come back from yellow, they just turn to red, and he lets him go.
And his the touch on that fucking the symbol he has on his chest, because like earlier on, wasn't it? There's a Megatronus sticker, decal or
it's
something.
It's a sticker that Orion had given to him. He goes, look, I have this limited edition thing, and he stuck it on. And so Sentinel Prime has gotten a fucking.
So when he saw it, he actually carves it in with a fucking laser into his chest, which is another fucking pretty brutal kind of branding him. But because
he's fucking because he's screaming when he's holding him down. Yeah, it's fucking
But when he lets him go,
he lets him go, and you see him. He's just kind of, and I said like earlier on, and it looks like that kind of cauldrons from Horizon mixed with like Borg cube kind of whatever. He's just falling down through the core of this planet. And meanwhile, D16 walks over and just takes fucking Sentinel and literally rips him in half. It's fucking awesome. Just fucking pulls him in half. He falls down, fucking brown bread, and he takes his cog out because earlier on, Sentinel Prime mentions that he goes, oh, your hero is Megatronus or Megatronus Prime. He goes, opens his chest. He goes, I nicked his cog. I have it in my chest. So when he tears him in half, he opens up his fucking chest and takes Megatronus's cog for himself. And you can see here again the duality between the different robots. Like some are disgusted. Some are like, oh my God, what is he doing? Run away, run away. And some are just cheering him on. Like, yes, this is the leader we want to follow. Tear it all down, and this is the divide between the two.
Divide in society,
So he falls down into the building, the center of the planet, which is Primus, because he had turned himself into it. He was the one who created the matrix of leadership, and you hear kind of his voice and the voices of their primes just saying that he's worthy, basically. He's worthy of being the holder of this thing. And so he gets bonded with the matrix of leadership, and
the visuals there are fucking amazing. It's kind of ghostly. Awesome. Everything's kind of bluey, steel, metallic, and you see that Orion Pax now it's all pretty much kind of fucking grey and like he's
fucking holding him.
He's fucking dead. Like, and then you just see all the ghostly figures kind of he's falling through them, and they're all just looking at him as he goes past them, and it's it's so ethereal and so just like, this is what a wonderful moment for him. And you see the kind of matrix of leadership starts to kind of form in front of him.
Oh,
And
it's goosebump stuff. Like.
it's just, it really fucking is. And that's kind of, that moment is, that's intercut with when D16 is, that's when he's putting the thing in his chest. And it's just this perfect duality of scenes for just, the beginning of both of them, which is, astonishing. We see the matrix of leadership then, go into Orion Pax, and you see him just start to transform a little bit.
When he
his arm comes back, and it's like, here we fucking go.
And the mask fucking goes up eventually when he gets up onto the thing. Like it's just, it's class. Like he arrives up onto the surface, and he just looks fucking badass. Now he's big, huge, badass Optimus Prime, and like the two of them are having a fight, and a bunch of Decepticons jump in then to try and help Megatron, and fucking Optimus Prime beats the fucking shit out of them as well, and just fucking throws them aside, and then. Like the fight between them and Megatron was deadly because he's about to attack him or shoot a bullet at him or whatever it is, and Optimus Prime puts his fist up, and it turns into that big fucking energy axe thing. That's fucking class. He fucking slices off Megatron's guns, like, and just he basically beats the shit out of him. He's the winner, and he just says, "Look, you're banished. You know, you from what you've done. You destroyed the city. You've become what you hated." You've become an evil dude, like fucking thing was, you're no better than Sentinel. You've become that. And he goes, you and all your fucking followers, the Decepticon guys, you're all banished from Iacon. And so they turn tail, and that's it. This is that was the start. It's the last time they're friends, you know? And we get a little flash then back to the day they first kind of met. And it really pulls on our heartstrings. We get this flashback. They go, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. Oh, really? I see you're a huge fan of Megatronus. Yeah. He's just only the biggest and baddest, and it's real, you know, a little fist bump that they kind of do out throughout the movie at the start of them being pals. And then we're back to Prime. You know, the matrix of leadership. He sees it glowing, and he lifts it out of his chest. And when he lifts it out, all of a sudden, all the energon on the planet starts flowing again. And it's just all the cogless people all start getting their fucking cogs so they can all transform, and it's just. The world is being turned back right again. And it's, like this is kind of the end of the main thing. We get a couple of mid-credits thing, but this is just where we get the credits roll. I thought it was just a lovely way of finishing it because we don't really address the Quintessons. You know, we don't really go back to address that. So I'm kind of like, okay, shit, like they're still going to want all their energon, right? So, you know, hopefully we get next movie is the battle between them, you know, and what's going to happen, because it's basically the Autobots are going to be fighting on two fronts. They're fighting off the Quintessons, they'll be fighting off the Decepticons. What's going to happen there? Maybe I should write the script, actually. But it's I've got some fucking great ideas. But it's but it's cool. Like, we get a couple of credits scenes. We get one is Bumblebee back with his mates again, and it's fucking brilliant because he's got his knife hands, which he mentions earlier on, and he's trying to. They're all treating him. Says, "Look, and I got this. And I got knife hands," and he puts his hands out, and the knives go through to his two inanimate mates. And you go, no! Big screaming because he's killed them again. And then the last one then is the last one. There is where Megatron officially takes his name. You see him in the area he's banished to, which is looks grim as fuck. It looks like they're literally at the core of the fucking our Earth. You know, it's all just fucking dark, super red. Lava, dark look, where you'd expect bad guys to live, really. And they're all rallying for him, and he calls him, changes his name to Megatron officially, and that's it, you know, and that's the movie. It's
just so good.
It's so good. It's so well paced. Like there's not too many things I can really nitpick with it because I think that the humor was done so well, the animation is so well. It's really so much fun. And it's very short. Like, this is 96 minutes or something, I think the movie is, or something along those lines. Like, it's a short movie, but it doesn't feel rushed, and it doesn't feel longer than it is either. Some movies can be 90 minutes, but feel like they're 4 hours, like crap or whatever. You know, with these kind of things that are really dragged out, this really is paced well, looks great. Like, I would 100% will be watching this multiple times when it's on a home thing. Immediately made me want to go back and watch the one from the 80s, the Transformers movie.
Because like that is heralded I guess before this, rightly so, as the best Transformers movie, the first one.
You got the
And
touch. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
soundtrack
There's a
alone, like.
line. There's a line in this where Alita, did you just spot that, where she says to she said to Ryan Pax or something. She says like, "You don't have the touch or the power for that," or something. I was just like,
All right, okay.
"Oh, I get it." Yeah,
I
she
didn't
said,
even
I
pick
can't
that
remember.
up. Deadly.
In one of the scenes, it's just like, "Oh my god!" And that's, I think, probably between that and Jax and a few other people in the race, few of the Transformers that I picked up on. I'd say I probably got about 5% of the Easter eggs. I can't wait to actually
Oh
go
yeah.
back and scour through it. But yeah, it's just after all the Michael Bay stuff, which went from earning lots of money to like $1 billion franchise, obviously falling apart in the last few, only making like 400 or 500 million. And Bumblebee was the one success, that made
Yeah, it
like
wasn't bad. Yeah.
450, but only off 100 million. It was kind of failing a little bit, and then just to have this at the moment, people are just hoping the audience scores and stuff, and that it'll get maybe an extended run in cinemas for a bit longer to try and recoup, because it needs a fucking sequel. It's too good
And
for
it's
me.
only
It's the
out
best
here. Yeah.
Transformers fucking movie.
Like it could
yeah.
be the worldwide release that maybe gets more people to go, because it, like in the States, we're getting the benefit of that. As you say, like in the States, it's been out already, and there's the hype has been built. We only just got it this weekend in Ireland, like in Ireland and the UK. So hopefully, that those people will see the scores first and go, fucking hell, like let's go and check it out. So maybe the worldwide box office will do a lot better than their domestic box office with a bit of luck. But this is one that will do well when it comes out on on streaming.
Absolutely.
The fucking Hasbro, we're gonna make a fortune off the toys, no doubt. Like maybe even for me,
yeah, it makes me want to, like, I got, like, when we went to Comic-Con London, I got my daughter some Transformers comics, mainly so I could read them to her. Or was it Transformers, one of those mashups?
My Little Pony, was it?
My Little Pony and Transformers. I was like, fucking fair enough. And it's fucking great. Like, it's wild and weird as shit. But she's like, oh, cool. And she knows who Optimus Prime and Bumblebee are. And she, like, I think after that, she's like, can you get me an Optimus Prime toy? It's like, abso-fucking-lutely. I'm going to get 2 of everything. One for you, one for me. But yeah, like, I think it's probably a bit dark for a 4-year-old, but I can't wait for her to watch this. I think, like, I just came out of this thinking this is a phenomenal movie. Like, it's got everything. It's got heart. It's got emotion. It's suitably dark when it needs to be dark. It's a fantastic character buddy movie that sticks to landing. That you really buy into their relationship, and as we said, just it's like, I can't wait to watch it again, and just have that emotional sadness of when you're watching it, seeing how it goes, even though you know how it goes lore wise and canon wise, but just to see how dark it kind of does get. Like, that's that moment when he just drops him and says, "I'm done saving you." It's a real, like, fucking hell. That's friendship is really fucking over. It's not less like, oh, they're gonna team up and it's a bit of angst or whatever. It's just like, that's really going to the dark side. But yeah, I thought it had absolutely everything. Yeah, and an absolute. I just wish it was making a shit ton more money, because it deserves to. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But thanks a million for taking us through that. That was an absolute joy. We could have chatted about that movie for about 3 hours. Yeah, easily. But so, yeah, that is then a wrap for episode 52 of Middle Aged Geeks, a year as podcasters. Happy fucking days. And what a suitable movie to sign off with this week. So thanks everybody for all your sharing and liking and subscribing and watching, listening, and everything in between. And we will catch you next week with something. We don't know what we're doing yet. Catch you later.
Take it easy.